What will it take for the nations of the world to acknowledge the God of the Bible as the one true and living God? Really, what's it going to take? This week we're reading through one of the more difficult sections of Ezekiel's prophetic discourse. The overall theme of chapters 1 through 24 is a stern, heart-rending, even hope-crushing rebuke, a prophetic word from the Lord that because of all her sins, Jerusalem would indeed fall. And in Ezekiel's day, Jerusalem did fall. Throughout Ezekiel, we see God's sovereignty over the history of the world, His divine purposes. And in chapter 20, verse 41, He tells us, "I will accept you as a sweet aroma. I'll bring you out from the peoples and gather you again from all the nations where you've been scattered. I will be hallowed in you among the Gentiles." God has said through His prophets in so many places that He's going to bring the Jewish people back to the land of Israel. And here in verse 41 of this week, He tells us why He's going to do it, so that His name will be hallowed among the Gentiles. And then He goes on in verse 42 to give us a second reason. He says He's also going to bring them back so that the people themselves will know that He is the Lord. So I ask again, what will it take for the nations of the world to acknowledge God? This is not a distant future prophecy any longer. It's happening in our day. Indeed, over the last 100 years, God has brought millions of Jewish people back to the land from where He had scattered them. Never in the history of the world have we seen something so unprecedented. As believers, we need to pray earnestly that God will do a mighty work in our day, pouring out His Spirit on the nations of the earth, that He'll open their eyes and their hearts to acknowledge Him, to know that only a sovereign God could preserve a people for Himself for over 2,000 years, scattered among other nations and cultures, preserve them and then bring them back to the land that He had dispersed them from. As a Bible-believing person of faith, pray with us that this week's verses will indeed come true, that the nations of the world will acknowledge the God of the Bible as the true God, and that the Jewish people will know Him as the Lord. The ingathering continues at a pace. Each year, about 30,000 new immigrants arrive in Israel. Spread the word of what God is doing today, bringing glory to His name, and then by all means, pray that the nations will acknowledge Him.